Our worth as human beings is determined from the inside out. Other people don't get to tell you what your value is. Now, they might determine what your value is to them, but that has no bearing on your value, right? Your worth comes from inside of you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Authentic Conversations. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm Amarelis, if you're just getting to know us, but if you're returning, thank you so much. And we have Susan with us. Hello, Susan.
Good day, Amarellis.
Yes, it is a good day because we have another day to sit in and be in the moment, another time to be able to just figure things out because it's always a work in progress. And
Yeah. It's another opportunity to be present for your own life, to recognize who you are and what you're worth. It's like I often we get so hung up. I want to play off of something that we talked about in the last episode, because I know that you were very vulnerable, in kind of sharing, just some of the dealing with wounds and stuff. And, our worth as human beings is determined from the inside out. Other people don't get to tell you what your value is. Now, they might determine what your value is to them, but that has no bearing on your value, right? Your worth comes from inside of you. And we have to be reminded of that, because when we're in an environment, whether we're young or old or somewhere in between, when we're in an environment where we give away our power, where we're either too young and we don't know, and we allow others to, to control or to tell us through their methods of, ignoring or yelling, or, you know what I mean, then we feel valueless because we feel powerless. But there comes a certain point when you reach a certain age where you can shift that, where you can have the wherewithal to know that the abusive relationship you were in, right? It's kind of a pivot point. It really has nothing necessarily to do with age, but it's a pivot point. And we get to acknowledge that we're human beings and that we have innate value, that we are worthy, that we are deserving of happiness, that we are deserving of love, that we are deserving of the opportunity to speak our authentic truth, that we are deserving of being respected, right? And anyone who is working against that, we have choices as to whether we want to continue relationships. It's just knowing our worth is the number one struggle of human beings.
Oh my God. I remember when I started working with Natasha, and she does energy healing work, and she said you have to validate yourself. But I heard it, but I didn't understand it. Right? So we meditate, and she tells me, golden light, validate yourself, you're worthy. And another session comes around, and she says, again, you need to validate yourself. And I finally let the ego come to the side, because when you are afraid to ask a question, it's your ego, guys. Fear is going to be the ego. Ask yourself spiritually and feel yourself, whether it's in your gut, your heart, and your mind. Where is this coming from? Is this question really honest? Or if I'm afraid to ask this question because I'm going to look dumb, because literally I had to ask. I felt that way. I felt like she's going to be like, what the hell does she
I'm
know
dumb.
instead?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what she means by validating myself. that Amaryllis at that time could not understand that, even though I've read books about it, even though I thought I was doing the work about it, thought I loved myself, but I was loving myself in a way, what I know what love is.
What, and you don't know what you don't know unless you ask.
Right. So I said to her, can you please explain to me? What does this mean? How do I do this? I don't know how to validate myself. You know, and in the last episode, we talked about this, the validation came through, so those triggers of validating myself came through so much. And I couldn't figure out what to say. If I said the wrong thing, was I directing to this group the wrong way? Was my energy too strong, too fast, too slow? And so now I'm in the judgment zone. So nothing is happening.
Can't
because
do
now
anything
I'm like
right.
critiquing myself to death.
Can't do anything right. Can't get out of your own way.
Can't get out of my way, right? And so grounding myself was the key, which also, guys, is hard. I couldn't figure out how to ground myself. I just was like a hot mess energy all over the place. So kept telling myself, you are here. And you know, one of the things that we talked at the end of our episode, you know, Susan said to me, because I got choked up and I was feeling it, and I was in that moment, I was healing, you know, still healing from it. I'm still healing from it. And she said beautiful words to me. Not only did she say beautiful words to me, anyone I called during that weekend gave me beautiful words to me, but I couldn't give them to myself. I couldn't hear them and believe them, because you know what? I was saying, yeah, well, that's a nice shit to say. I mean, what are you going to say when your friend is crying? You know what? You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of work. You're worthless. No, you know, you're going to be nice, because I can't believe it. So if I don't believe it,
right,
it's not going to heal me, because at the end of the day, guys, like Domin Luis says, you have to be, you know, you can't judge, take things for judgment, and trust. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. Don't take it personal.
Your
Don't
worth
take
is
it
not
personal.
determined by them. They don't get to tell you what you're worth, because they don't even know you.
But society has already told us what we're worth. Society has told us by our color of our skin, by where you were born, by who your grandparents are,
How much money you have in
worth.
the bank, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And we are in a changing transformational point right now in this universe. This is not just authentic conversation happening, guys. There are tons and tons of work coming out, because we're all having the same energy. If you found this video, it's because you have been attracted to know that there is more to this. We decided to come to this earth as a human being.
Being, not doing, being.
Not doing, being.
So can we talk about fear? I want to go back, right?
Yeah.
So fear, you know, kind of paralyzes your rational thinking, right? So I love words. I love language, right? So I know that the word interference is rooted in fear. So if you can imagine, what happens is you plant the fear seed, you plant a seed of fear. So you have fear on the brain, and then interference takes over. So interference doesn't allow you to get yourself back to who you are. It's like all of this, it's a separation between like this terrified little girl and the woman that you are, right? So the interference doesn't allow your rational thinking to bring you back. So, you know, even you who has been working on grounding, you know, like you're like, why can't I get rid of this tingle, this rapid heart rate, this fear, this sense of dread, you know, you know, the feelings. I mean, we all know the feelings, we've had them, right? So the feeling of fear creates interference, and the interference keeps you from being able to get back to yourself. So you have to clear the noise. You have to clear the interference. You have to remind yourself of your value. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. I feel like I'm 5 and I'm standing in the kitchen, you know, That's not where I am. Where am I? I'm here and it's now. I am not the same as I was when I was 5. I understand how that makes me feel. And I'm going to allow that, but I also need to remind myself that I have power and that I have value and that I am worthy and I am deserving of all of the things: love, abundance, joy, inner peace. So you have to keep the adult part of you has to reassure the child part of you that you've got this, that you've got this, that you've got them, that you're holding space for them and you're not judging them for what they did when they were in survival mode through the interference.
And in survival mode, guys, that means when you make the mistakes of going through alcohol or drugs or, staying in a situation that is not good for you, that people are not loving you, because that's what keeps us blinded in safe mode. And in the codependency of wanting, I had a codependency with friendships. I had to learn to let go of those because again, my fear of being alone is my abandonment issues.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So when I
But look at
cannot be
you go.
comfortable with myself.
But look at you go. You had a weekend in DC and you actually welcomed the alone time. Eventually. Eventually. Progress. And progress happens in increments. I mean, you are going to get triggered again, Amaryllis. We know that.
Yes.
I mean, we know that. It's not like I was triggered, I went through it, I'm done, I've grown.
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
but the next time it comes up, it might be softer and gentler.
Yes.
Your recovery time, will shorten and you'll, the realization, the things that you told yourself this past weekend will be more easily accessible to you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I already feel it. And I know what you're saying, Susan, for myself personally, guys, we're discussing our testimonies of our lives here in this podcast. Even with my father, it's been already going to be a year that we reconnected. And it's not exactly which I knew what it was going to be.
Expectation, right?
The expectations, is still weird, and who calls who, and did he call me for Mother's Day, And I hold space for that woman who needs that, for that child who needs that love. I hold space for her and I allow her to feel that. And again, I say, it's okay. I'm here for you. Do you want to continue this relationship? Do you not want to continue this relationship? Do you want to call? Do you not want to call? We have the control. And I know that I am a loving person and I'm a strong person and I have a strong personality and that protector of me who comes out. And sometimes when she does come out, she can do some damage that I can't take back. Right? Because if you don't heal, then that badass bitch that comes out is like, ooh, we gotta put her back in the closet. She could come out to protect me, but in good terms of the protection that, you know what I mean, with love.
No, hurt people.
Yeah.
And if you don't heal the hurt, then you're going to want to share the hurt. It's commiserating, right? If I'm in misery, I want others to be miserable. So we're going to commiserate on this.
Yeah, guys. And it doesn't feel good at the end of the day. And thank God I never was that person that want to commiserate with others. I always have had this light in me to want to. I look back on my life and what I've gone through as a child alone, who wasn't raised by really a lot of adults who were role models, but the adults that came around me, people like you and people, my husband and people that are friends of mine that are still in my life for a long time. I have friendship that since we were 13, we're still friends. They're the ones that they're my guardian angels. They are these people that we've already made a soul contract who said, you're going through this. And honestly, I don't even have it that bad compared to others.
But we all, but it's,
But
but,
we-
but don't invalidate
No, but
the
I'm,
hurt. I get it, you know,
I
you
get
can
it.
say,
Like, if we look at it, if I'm looking at it now as an adult, I'm like, okay, yes, you were alone. No
Yeah.
child should be alone.
Right.
But
if
I
we
know
all
others.
throw our troubles into a pile, we're gonna take ours back because we're familiar with them, but you know, I mean, your suffering is real.
Yes.
So we don't want to invalidate that, but we also want to recognize that you are doing the work. And when people who are in your inner circle, you know, those 5 or whatever it is, talk about, right? You know, when they say stuff to you, they're not saying it to make you feel better. They're saying it because they truly believe it. So that's where, you know, that's where the external validation can help remind you to internally validate. You know, if I say it to you, Amaryllis, versus some lady in the grocery store, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
you know, hearing it helps you internalize it, which is why we need the uplifters around us, because
Yes.
there's plenty of people who are going to help you tear yourself down. I mean, everyone loves to, you know, everyone loves a good tear down.
Yeah, everyone loves the gossip, and we all have those. And awareness is the key, right? Like, now I know who that person is, and I will not be calling that person, you know what I mean? Because the questions become more of an intriguing, like, well, what did you do, or what are you going to do, and da 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 da. And it becomes like a news reporter, and it's more instigating and not helping, not holding space for you and asking the right questions, going, what is triggering this
How are you
emotion?
feeling?
How are you feeling?
What
Where
makes
are you
sense?
going?
Yeah.
Why did you choose this job if you were afraid of it? Then it came through to me, was like, oh, okay, my fears and validations of how smart I am, I can memorize a whole play, so I must be smart in some points because I can memorize a monologue. I just don't like history. Like, okay, I don't get it.
Right. Well, you know,
Memorize history in a different way, right? And I've also had to learn when I have challenges, like when I had to get my driver's license and I thought it was never going to happen. I had a great friend who said to me, study the test. You're an actress. This actor is going to get their license.
that's right.
What does the actor need? The actor always needs something. The movie happens because there's something, a projection, there's something that somebody wants, right? And then that's how everybody follows the movie, because it brings you in. The story brings you in. So here's the story. You need to visualize yourself driving. You need to visualize yourself getting this license because you're going to LA.
And channel that inner actress and
I did.
Get it. Yeah.
I mean, my teacher thought I was not going to parallel park like I did. And when I came back with my license, he was like, oh, you passed? And I was like, yeah.
Duh.
I was like, I don't think if I should be driving is a whole other question.
I'm not sure, but I passed.
But I passed. I know how to parallel park that moment at that time.
That's funny. I
But
got
you
it
know what?
once. All I need to do is get it once.
Get it once. I got the license. But Susan, jokes, I even had to deal with my anxiety of driving, because I learned to drive at 28. And there are moments that I do feel this anxiety level, because again, the judgment comes through. And I remember having a session with Natasha, asking her, like, hey, is there something in my past life? Guys, I believe in this. So you're new to our program. We talk about a lot of stuff. So I said, is there something here that's making my energy, a soul contract, something that I need to let go? And she's like, there's nothing there. It's just your validation. Back to validating. Yeah. She goes, you're actually a better driver than all those other drivers, because you are more aware of the rules and what you're doing.
About being a better driver. Right.
Right. Then the teenager who thinks his bubble in his world is that he's invisible, or the person who decides to drink and drive and is irresponsible. So you think you're being a grandma driving, when people make fun of your driving because you're so tense. She goes, just relax. You have to trust yourself. And the driving, again, of trusting myself, is like what we talk about in this podcast a lot, where we don't know where the road is going to lead us all the way. We're trusting that the light is going to turn green and red, but you still need to be aware. If that person you think they're going to cut you off, they're going to cut you off. So that is okay to have awareness and validation of your gut feelings. Yes. Because you're connected and you're being protected.
That's right. You trust yourself.
You gotta trust yourself so that when they are talking and when you think that they have a better sense of who you really are,
They don't
is
get
when you
to determine your worth. They do not get to determine, oh my God, I can't, I'm so passionate over this, I'm stuttering over it. They do not get to determine your worth. They do not know who you really are. You get to determine your value. And if you are undervaluing yourself or devaluing yourself because of something someone else is saying or doing, you have to pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to that. Because each and every person brings something.
And guys, we are all here for a reason. So if
Yeah.
you are watching this podcast and you found us, it's because you pulled that energy. It's like the radio dial tone. Abraham Hicks talks about it all the time, right? Being in the vortex.
Frequency, where is that? What do I need?
So this is what you needed. So here's the little tick tick of the day. You're not alone, and you chose to be here. And yes, it's hard. Human beings, we are complicated. Kids, even themselves, are so mean to each other. They let it go. Actually, kids are great at this. Actually, they could be mean to each other the next minute they're friends. When we get to be adults, and the days come tell us all this stuff about us, and we believe it, then we put these guards up, and then we don't get to forgive and to love. Forgiveness, guys.
We forget who we are.
Even how much they hurt you, even if they were your parent, even if it was something that was unforgettable. I know that you'd
Power back. Take your power back.
forgive. Forgive them and let it go. It's not happening right now. It happened. And it will get better. That pain that you're feeling, that hurt that you're feeling, I promise you, it is going to get better.
Temporary. It's temporary. And the more you lean into it, the more resolve you get from it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to lean into something that's uncomfortable. But you also don't want to stay stuck while the rest of the world is moving. So trust that you are worthy enough to figure this out, because you are worthy of love, you are worthy of joy, you are worthy of abundance, you are worthy of, existing in your own beautiful world.
Trust that you are here for a reason. We are all here for a reason. We all are in our inner circle, and the people that are around us are making an effect. So are you going to light somebody's light today, or are you going to dim it? Are you going to give them love, even if you're driving? All of these things, we think that we need to be on this big platform, and yes, we idolize, and sometimes just be careful. I went to that Louise Hayes event, and yes, I had the goosebumps. Yes, I was super giddy about, meeting Rebecca Campbell and, Gabby Bernstein's on stage, and I'm just like, oh my God, I read her books all the time. I want to be on that stage like her. I want to touch somebody. And you know what it took from that event, Susan? That I am doing it. Because this world is big and it's small at the same time. You think you don't know nobody, somebody knows somebody. So be careful who and how you treat others. How do you respect others? It all comes back. And yes, this world is still big. So it's so big that you can't affect somebody that's in Asia, or somebody when you have somebody right next to you. How are you treating your fellow brother? How are you loving yourself so that you can love others, and compassion and be loving? Because it starts right in your own home. So
define validate yourself for me in your terms, or examples of validate yourself.
So validating ourselves is,
for those who can't ask, who want to know.
Yes. So for those who can't ask, for me, the way I've learned to validate myself, I've learned to write to my younger self and tell her the things that she wanted to hear. She's beautiful, that her hair is great, things that, whatever it is to me, so that I can start seeing it in the mirror, and I start validating that, and I see myself in the mirror. And I chose to be an actress, like, hello. When I had no one telling me how beautiful I was, I decided to go in the industry where it's all about your image. Let's talk about that's a whole episode. And but validating myself to say, you are strong, you are here. I have been blessed so much, abundance about, and what is abundance for me is my family, being a mom, and having amazing friends that are truly and loyal to me, that as well as I am to them, and that we love each other, even though we are far away from each other right now. I'm so far away from all my friends, but they're so close to me at the same time. So I validate myself with those good relationships that I have. And so I tell myself, you are loved, you are right here. And again, it's closing your eyes. And even if you're saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I forgive myself, is enough, guys. You will feel it. It will work. I know it sounds so out of this world, but we are all energy. So if you feel it and you trust this air and this energy.
Well, the reality is we talk to ourselves all the time.
Oh, yes.
Most of the time it's in that damning, condemning voice, right? So it's part of that is shifting it to gratitude. And when we shift it to gratitude, then we shift it to self-love and compassion for self and others. And, so it's like the narrative in our head needs to change to, because we are hardest on ourselves. We are harder on ourselves. And a lot of times when we hear that voice in our head that is harsh or judgmental, we're really hearing someone else who has said that. So it's about releasing the external and building your worth from the inside out.
So love yourself. You have the words to tell yourself, because those words are those people that are in your head, they no longer exist, because you're not going to validate them. You're not going to give them value.
That's right. Don't give them your power.
Don't give them your power, guys. You got this. So, meditation, bringing it in, even if it's just for a short period, when those of you who love your numbers, you see the 1111 or 222s or 333s, that's just a little bit of saying, hey, take a pause. Give thanks.
Yep.
You're right here. You're in this moment. What are you going to do next? You're going to be right here. I love you. Just saying that. The subconscious doesn't understand where it's coming from. And when is it being told?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because it's all energy. So if you're sending energy of love outward, send it inward too.
So thank you guys once again. Thank you, Susan, for your time. And thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you.